My active north, damn your motherfucker, I'm with the business. If you run it, then I will fold your north to California soda. Hollow tips up in the clip. When I pull it out the holster, I be gassing with a passion. It's always hopping out, I'm smashing. Nigga, I'm loyal to my soil. Never catching soft reactions. False accusations in my nation. Homie got me laughing. Nigga, don't catch your faces, no escape. Nigga, when I'm blasting, I'm a motherfucking assassin in this motherfucking game. Nigga, smashing the O. And scrappers is how I earn my name up in these.
Soldados del Norte. And we're going to talk about the conflict.
The following episode will detail the Mexican Mafia versus Nuestra Familia War of 1972. This is part 4 of a 5-part series, San Quentin in early 1972, because I was locked up in the latter part of 1971 for the non-fatal stabbing of Popeye Jackson, an inmate I assaulted in the South Dining Hall during a dispute over the Chow Hall TV. Popeye and his friends wanted to watch the San Francisco Giants baseball game, and I changed the channel to an NFL game. Some brief words of disagreement were exchanged, and it escalated into violence. Prior to being locked up in B section for this incident, I was able to be in on this 1971 group photograph taken with the fellas inside the San Quentin North Block. Standing in the back row and going left to right are Chente Gutierrez from East Los, Nico Velazquez from La Puente, Colorado Arias from Colton neighborhood, VNE. Sometime in December of 1971, a dispute arose over the property rights to a punk, an inmate homosexual who was claimed by the Mexican Mafia and disputed by the NF.
All right, that's what I wanted to get to. And I'm glad that he's keeping it real about how these conflicts started. Yes, there were several issues that started the North versus South thing. Tensions were brewing, cultural differences, but the incident that he just described was one of the major contributors to the war. And I'm proud to say that from what I hear right now, Norteños and Serreños are actually, they have like a ceasefire, and instead of killing each other, they're more concerned about making money. And now that the hunger strikes have proved successful and all the leaders of these, of the Mexican Mafia and Nuestra Familia, now that they're out the shoe, solitary confinement, they don't want to go back. They all work together. All the gangs that hate each other work together on one accord to make sure that they could execute those hunger strikes, and they also work together on the legislation so that they can get freed from solitary confinement. Because if you got labeled a gang leader, they could indefinitely hold you in solitary confinement. So these guys are finally free, and they don't want petty wars to interrupt the flow of money. And yes, money, millions of dollars are generated in prison from drugs. And yeah, if you don't know, Nuestra Familia is like the Senate for the northern gangs, and Mexican Mafia is like the Senate for the southern gangs. Only the elite members from these Serrano gangs are able to get into the Mexican Mafia, and then once they become a member, they control their neighborhood, when their former street gang, basically. Same concept with the Norteños and the Nuestra Familia. But yeah, man, it's like I said, man, Mundo, his channel has so much information. And you never really hear too many people talking about prostitution in prison because it's, most guys want to present themselves in a very, very masculine way. They want to talk about who they beat up, who they stabbed. They don't want to talk about the fact that in addition to drugs, one of the most profitable hustles in prison is prostitution. And there are only men in there, so obviously men are getting prostituted. And that's one of the, biggest, ways to earn discretionary income. But nobody talks about it. So salute to you, Mundo. Peace.